all my analytics classes for all those nerds out there.
But Thomas Bryant's jockstrap, get him out of here!
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back! They snatched that chain, boy. Get back! What's all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back! We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back!
Hey everybody, welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm Ryan Tyler. He's Nick Padone. He's Jack O'Rourke. He's Project Pat McGuire. No Rob Watson today, got the suds. But we are not at the Berkeley Lakefront Airport in our studios. No, we are at the Big Play Golf Invitational here at the beautiful Little Mountain Country Club. Guys, the weather is perfect today. It's a little bit warm, but that's okay. It's better than it being chilly. The balls are going to fly today. I'm so excited to be here. We had an opportunity to come here last year to play, but our Big Play Golf kind of getting a revamp, a new look, and this year it's even bigger and even better. Shout out Jimmy Hanlon and all of his crew, of course, for taking over Big Play Golf and setting this whole thing up, guys. It's an absolute privilege, and I'm happy to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, just got started, so now we're getting started here on the Factor, 9:30 start, so they're out there on the course here at Little Mountain, and you said it, Ryan, like, it's a beautiful day out here. Like, it's been cool. We've been getting, like, a big dose of fall all right up in our face, but this is, like, summer's still here. You know, summer's here. I'm hot. I didn't dress for the occasion. Crew neck, not the play today, but we're going to push through.
Jack, what's up, dude?
Not too much, Ryan. You know,
I also
actually,
can't hear anything in my ears, which is a strange. There we go, Pat. How about that? How about that?
I might be there too now. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, now we're really.
I like the feedback live.
Now we're in the game, baby. Yeah, Ryan. So I actually golfed yesterday, and I got under the ball a little bit. It was a good pitch, low in the zone, and broke the head off the driver, just clean straight off. Yeah. Went about 25 yards. So yeah, I'm not having the best experience with golf recently, but I mean, hey. You can't turn it around quicker than this.
I'm going to set the line here at over 1.5 people will cross in front of the camera feed today. It almost just happened once. We've been live for 2 minutes, and it almost just happened once. So I'm setting the line at over 1.5 people to cross in front of the camera today.
I'll take that.
Okay, we'll take the over on that. Project Pat, what's up, dude?
Feeling good, guys. Honestly, had a little pre Bobby Carpenter, or well, I guess pre-golf outing Bobby Carpenter show. Little emotion running high over there, but the Buckeyes are going to get a win over the Buckeyes. So tune in for that at noon, and happy to be here.
All right, guys, let's talk some football, shall we?
How are you doing, Ryan?
Thank you.
Oh man.
Thank you for that. I'm doing really well, Jack, today. I woke up
check on your friends,
a little
folks.
late morning, got up a little late, struggled to get out of bed. It's a Friday, it happens, but I made it here. I'm happy to be here, and we're good for a show. All right, guys, let's talk some Cleveland Browns football. The line on FanDuel has stayed pretty steady, opened at 11.5. As of 5 minutes ago, I checked on the great FanDuel app. It still remains at 11.5, even after all the Browns trash talk. They're not factoring the motivation, the bulletin board material. They're clearly handing the Baltimore Ravens. We'll start here with these discussions because we talked about the game enough in the week, but more recent developments is the trash talk. Grant Delpit talking about Derrick Henry. Well, he says he's easy to tackle. Now, I've not had the opportunity to be on a football field with Derrick Henry, but I've watched him play football ever since he was at Alabama, and I've seen people struggle to tackle him for about a decade now, and I don't think he's easy to bring down. Pair that with Jerry Jeudy, who talked earlier this week about the Ravens secondary when he was asked, saying they pose no challenges. I understand there's a fine line between being confident, and there's also a fine line between being cocky and giving the other team unnecessary bulletin board material, and I fear that the Browns have kind of crossed that line as of a couple days ago.
Well, it's stupid, and it shows that it's absent leadership in that Browns locker room, which we knew. We knew that this is a Browns team that doesn't have a lot of leaders throughout it. But you're talking about Derrick Henry, a guy that's going to be getting fitted for a gold jacket. Grant Delpit has not had an interception. Talk about, like, keys to the game, and Rob Watson, our guy who's not with us today, wrote a really good blog on Sports Illustrated Browns saying what the Browns need to do to beat the Baltimore Ravens, and he said win the turnover battle, something the Browns haven't done in a really long time. Here I've got Grant Delpit, a safety that hasn't caused a turnover since 2023 in week 2 when he intercepted Kenny Pickett. The thing about that, the Steelers have had 3 different starting quarterbacks since his last interception on an NFL field. So it's audacious. And I know a lot of people will be like, Nick, so you're taking offense that the Browns are trying to get themselves motivated for this game. The fact that they're confident against the Baltimore Ravens, who pretty much everybody picked to win the AFC North. No, I'm not mad about that, but I think it speaks volumes that the fan base sees something like that and they're immediately off-put by it, because it just goes to show nobody has any faith in this team already, and it's just week 2.
I don't know how.
The thing too is, like, real quick, Jack, the thing about confidence too is sometimes confidence is unspoken. Sometimes you don't need to say it in a divisional matchup. You know what a fucking AFC North game is going to be. You don't need to give them extra bulletin board material. I think it's useless.
Well, we lost the one guy that was the sole reason. I think it's safe to say, maybe not the sole reason, but the big part of why you've been able to beat the Ravens a few times you have in the past 5 years or so, and that's Nick Chubb, a guy who embodied that move in silence.
Yep.
Like,
JOK as well. JOK as well. And I know that everybody's putting out the highlight of Grant Delpit tackling Derrick Henry. Listen, that was a 12-yard gain. There's number 1, by the way. Number 1 goes to
my
Jimmy
over feels real good.
We need one more for that to go over. I don't know. I saw that quote. I was like, this is par for the course of what this season's going to be. They think they're a good team. They're not. Maybe they shock the world on Sunday. It's always possible. That's why the game's not played on paper. It's played on the field. But I personally have very little faith in all of this trash talking and motivation or bulletin board material or whatever you want to call it. It's moving me very little, because at the end of the day, what do people say about the NFL? It's about the Jimmies and Joes more so than the X's and O's, and the Ravens got you beat in both of those departments.
Can someone just explain to me, out of you three guys, how the Baltimore Ravens walk into this game with more bulletin board material and motivation? Like, I think it's just one of the most mind-boggling things of all time, coming off of a 3-win season. They're hosting you on the weekend. They took over your team, their 30th anniversary celebration. Nonetheless, somehow they're walking in as a pissed off team. Even I saw Derrick Henry said something about Coach Stefanski too, that he saw what he said. But I looked at the Stefanski quotes and it didn't seem like he said anything bad.
Refog posted the Sasquatch meme.
Oh yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens, they call week 2. They call week 2.
Can one person going north and southbound count though?
I'd say so. We
Does
talk about the Baltimore Ravens, and week 2 in the NFL and week 3, they call it the adjustment weeks, because week 1 is the first time you're getting a new look on the field, whether you have new pieces or not. And the Baltimore Ravens have a few new pieces, obviously Malachi Starks in the draft, the rookies and all that stuff. Jerry Alexander, obviously DeAndre Hopkins. But the Baltimore Ravens not just lost week 1 to the Buffalo Bills. They blew an epic 15-point fourth quarter lead. I believe they allowed 22 points in the fourth quarter to the Buffalo Bills. You think, they're not already going to be pissed off. You factor that in with, like I said, adjustment week. You're adding this bulletin board material. Baltimore Ravens, if you remember, you go back last year, they started out 0-2. I believe they lost to the Dallas Cowboys, and they got shocked by the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yep.
You think John Harbaugh is going to go into this game allowing any chance that the Ravens are going to start 0-2 again? I talked about the probability of going to the playoffs after dropping
Especially
0-2.
at home.
Especially at home with all the anniversary celebrating the 30th year. And Lamar Jackson put up an MVP performance in week 1. Derrick Henry put up an MVP performance in week 1 as well. And by the way, that was against the Buffalo Bills. Okay, this is the Cleveland Browns we're talking about. Now, you could argue that the Cleveland Browns might have a better defense than the Buffalo Bills. I'm not sure if I buy into that. It's 1 week. We'll see. We'll see how the secondary fits up. Everybody's crowning Greg Newsome and company in the secondary. Understandably, you did lock down to a point. Yes, Jamar Chase. I'll credit more to the defensive line on that. But let's not forget, you still got Zay Flowers. You still got Mark Andrews, D-Hop, who had an amazing touchdown catch. Everything in this game lines up for the Baltimore Ravens to shove the football down the Browns' throat. And I'm not excited because I think this one is going to be a blowout.
You know what stinks? Let me put this out there too. Just talking about the macro view of things. We usually get to this point, but typically in Brown seasons, week 1 you lose. Okay, week 2 it's going to be uphill sledding, but around Thursday, Friday you could talk yourself into seeing a path to victory. You could talk yourself into, if they do these couple of things, they can upset Baltimore. I don't know that anybody in Cleveland or anybody in Northeast Ohio right now truly believes that they even have a chance. And we're in week 2. Usually we get to that point around week 10 or 11. So it is just, the onus is on everybody, man. The onus is on the organization that we really thought when these guys got hired and they won that playoff game in Pittsburgh that we were so close to having something special, something that could be sustained. And the fact that we're back to those rebuild days, short couple of years after that, it just stinks. The fact that we're sitting here in week 2, this is where things should be fun. This is where we should be talking about, man, if you go in there in Baltimore and beat them and you're 1-1 coming home against Green Bay, who won last night but maybe looked a little bit overrated, I don't know. It just stinks that we're in week 2 right now.
I will say, guys, the one thing, though, after talking to Max Loeb about this game for a bit yesterday, I'm starting to fall in love with that plus 11.5 a little bit. I think the way that the Ravens just always are going to chew the clock, like, you know they're going to eat possessions up. The Browns, like, they can chew the clock a little bit, too, if they're running the ball at all, which, hey, I don't know what they're going to be able to do, but you would think less Jerome Ford this week would probably, you'd like to think, equate to a better rushing performance overall. And if both teams are starting to eat the clock at all, like, the less possessions there in a game, the harder it is, no matter how much better the other team is, to make it 11.5 points.
Yeah. All right, we got to keep talking Browns, but before we do, I got to tell you about our great friends at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford, Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state of Ohio. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and they won't be beat on price by any other Ford dealer. Now's your time, guys. Just make that short trip to Canfield, Ohio. You could potentially save thousands of dollars on your dream vehicle. They have over 500 vehicles in stock in their lot as we speak. We had the opportunity about a month or so ago to go down to Canfield. Shout out Fairway Ford Mike, who also came in the studio a little bit after that. Just a beautiful dealership, the nicest people, and they want to make sales, guys. They want to do right by their customers. They have enough to be able to make deals to be able to get you guys near your dream vehicle at a reasonable price. Visit fairwayfordohio.com today to find, fairwayfordohio.com is their website. We usually have the QR code up, not today. That's what tripped me up. But, guys, go give their website a visit one more time, fairwayfordohio.com. All right, guys, we're talking about the Cleveland Browns, 11.5-point favorites. I wish. Maybe in a parallel universe, Rick and Morty. 11.5-point underdogs to the Baltimore Ravens. We were just talking about the line. I don't even feel good about that line. I think this could easily be a 2-touchdown game. Perhaps you get a Browns backdoor cover. That's the only way that I see this thing covering for the Cleveland Browns. Everything in this game is trending for the Baltimore Ravens. I hate the fact that they lost week 1. You cannot go 0-2 if you want a chance to make the playoffs. Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh has been there for, 18 years. He's not going to let his team go 0-2. Joe Flacco, you're going to need to throw the ball around. Ravens averaged 30 points last season. They just dropped 40 in the home opener. Not only is your defense going to have to repeat what they did week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals, but you're also going to have to score points on offense. And after seeing receivers drop catches, the lack of being able to run between the tackles up the A-B gap, guys, without Quinshon Judkins, I don't know if he's going to play yet. Do we have confirmation on that?
I mean, not confirmation, but with him practicing and being a full participant yesterday, I would assume, and this is, a Nick Padone assumption, not as much as a Nick Padone report, but he's going to play.
All right. The keys to the game you guys mentioned is winning the turnover battle. Now, I don't love the thought of the Browns being able to do that. Joe Flacco, understandably, he should have exited that game with probably 0 interceptions. It's not really a Joe Flacco thing to do. The Ravens secondary looked a little weak last week, but I expect a bounce back for them. And John Harbaugh, by the way, knows Joe Flacco pretty damn well. If the Browns can't pass pro, that's a problem. And if the Browns can't get any push on the trenches, well, good luck running the ball with Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. Even if Quinshon Judkins comes in, who knows how ready he's going to be. Right. I mean, we talked about it. You don't necessarily need to get ramped up that much if you're a running back, especially a Quinshon Judkins type of bruiser, but there will be certain situations, third down, if you're running a route, he might not be able to be on the field because he's not up to speed like that, and that could honestly be the difference.
Ryan, my big thing is, I think the defense in Flacco, to the point that was made of, that you could keep these games close, I really believe that to be true. I think you can keep these games close because I do think the defense is good. But I just don't know that in this matchup it matters. I think that you could have a stellar defense, and Lamar Jackson's still going to get his. Derrick Henry's still going to get his. And the Browns secondary, Rob said this week, what is they struggled the most against those little shifty receivers. It would not surprise me at all if Zay Flowers has an absolute day. I look at this matchup, and I do think there's a world that they can keep it close, but nothing would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a 2-touchdown Browns loss. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a 3-point loss and it came down to something really weird at the end, like what we saw in Week 1.
An Andre Schmidt missed field goal.
Could you imagine that?
Let's talk about that element. We talk about the Browns, obviously. Playoff hopes weren't in the cards for the Browns this season. I mean, you could ask anybody in that locker room, and they tell you that's not true. But
I set the line way too low.
Yeah, not even. We're at 7.
But we all know the reality of the Cleveland Browns season, and if next year is the year that you're looking to draft a first-round quarterback, whether it's Nussmeier, whether it's Sellers, you name it, there's about 5 guys that the Browns could possibly take in round 1. Wouldn't you want everything to be in place once you get that quarterback in Berea? And I know it's a kicker, and kickers could be fickle. And after this season, we talked about Dustin Hopkins looked great, then kind of went back to the normal form he was in his career, not the guy who's going to knock down 50-yarders consistently like he did in 2023. Right. But to bring in no competition for Andre Schmidt, I think, was the wrong call. And we mentioned around the league, the Browns kind of went left when everybody went right. You saw Jake Moody get cut. You've seen other guys, Young Wei Koo, I think they bring in competition there in Atlanta. But the Browns clearly, Nick, you say this all the time, they value process over results. And, you know, it's funny because you talk about the NFL being a what have you done for me lately league. Well, that goes against process over results.
Right, yeah, which makes me curious to see really how this season shakes. But for the Andre Schmidt thing, you know, I understand it a little bit more now. They think that he can be the long-term resolution, and they think that week 1 was just an admiration for what's going to be a really good career for a kid that they view as their long-term fix, and they don't want to shake his confidence right now. Here's the flip side of that, though. What if it does go bad this week? Well, then we know, because we've lived through this before, Monday and Tuesday is going to be a busy day at Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and there's going to be a shuttle picking up free agent kickers and driving them to Berea for a tryout. We've quite literally lived through this. And the one thing that I can't get over is the fact that this is a position that they have continued to show negligence towards. Like, they are 32nd out of 32 teams in extra points. That is the most rudimentary thing in football. You could go find an 8th grader on some high school field
the Pat
right
McAfee
now
kids on College
in
Game Day.
Northeast Ohio that could toe one in from 33 for an extra point. Like, it is the most basic blocking and tackling thing. So if you can't solve that, it kind of goes to show, well, how can we trust you guys with the rest of the positions on the football field, the 11 guys on offense, the 11 guys on defense, if you can't reliably find a guy to hit the most basic layup in really all of sports outside of free throws and layups.
Yeah, I will say I wrote an article for Cleveland Browns on Sports Illustrated yesterday that I put out about the case for keeping Andre Schmidt around for another week or two based off of what Browns legend Hanford Dixon said this week on the Top Dog Show. And you got to look back, like there was a time when Cade York hit a 58-yard game winner and Phil Dawson's new name was Cade after just one game, and after that things kind of went kaput. And then you look at a guy like Will Lutz, who his first game with the Saints about 10 years ago, he missed 2 field goals in a game that they lost by 1 point, goes on to have a great 10-year NFL career that's still going on today, including a Pro Bowl appearance.
You know,
it's so hard to judge off one game.
It's tough because and missing a 33-yard extra point, missing a 36-yard field goal, it's tough to put it on the Browns. But you look at guys like Chris Boswell, who's been quoted by Mike Tomlin as a serial killer. He's been nails. He wins single-handedly every single year, wins the Steelers a game by making 5 field goals in one game.
Their opener last year, he had 6.
Exactly.
He's all 18 points for the Steelers in their opener last year. All 18 points.
Is it that the Steelers put these kickers in situations to succeed? Are the Browns consistently in practice not doing the right things to prepare a guy like Andre Schmidt for game day? Now, I can't attest to that because I'm not in the practices, obviously. But it comes to a point where you see kickers around the league. Cowboys are able to find a guy like Brandon Aubrey who's nails from 60+. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know Cam Little we saw make a 70-yarder. We'll see how his career plays out. But guys, kind of along the similar lines of an Andre Schmidt, your Matthew Bates out of Detroit who's kicking game-winning field goals consistently. Your guys like Greg Zerloin, who not anymore, but was nails. And speaking of the Ravens, Justin Tucker, a guy who is a legitimate weapon and maybe a top 5 player at maybe one of the most wishy-washy positions in sports.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for the allegations, that's another guy that we'd be talking gold jacket about with Justin Tucker. You know, you mentioned something about the preparation, and I'm not like breaking any news. I'm not saying anything new. Like, this has been something that Browns fans have said for years and years, and I agree with them, and I've never heard a reasoning as to why not. Why don't they take them down to the stadium?
That's what I was going to bring up next.
Instead of having them kick in Berea, every Browns fan says that. Like, the specialists, because I've covered these practices before, it's a lot of standing around. It's a lot of screwing around. You try to learn how to drop kick where you're bouncing the ball off the ground, because there's just not a whole lot you can do when all the fields are operated by actual football taking place. Like, there's not a whole lot of work that you could get in until those real live action sessions where they bring out the entire special teams unit and try to do kick block, punt block, all that stuff. So why not just Is it a resources thing? You don't even need a bus. Take somebody's car, but have somebody volunteer to drive. It's 3 people and a couple of footballs, and go down to the stadium and figure it out
12
there.
minutes down the road. Yeah, honestly, too, guys, we talked about this on Honor the Land. It'll come out in a little bit here. But Zay was talking about the process that you were talking about with kicking earlier, about how you're 32nd, and it's been that way since, 2020?
Yep.
So the thing about it is, why don't you bring in Phil Dawson or somebody who knows how to kick in this stadium? Because you can talk all day long that you're 32nd and last in kicks and everything like that, but bring in somebody else who can help you coach them differently to fix the process that you're talking about. Because honestly, with the kicks from Andre, the kicks look good. The only reason I'm a little bit encouraged, still holding on to hope with him, is they weren't like one miss left, one miss right, like wildly. They were the same exact kick. You know what I'm saying? Like end over end, it was straight. It's kind of like where you're out here, where you're just not closing the club face a little bit, and it goes a little bit. It's going straight, but it's just a little wide right. That's the only encouraging thing I've got for him. But I mean, honestly, you have to fix something in this process.
All right, guys, let's do our Browns-Ravens score predictions. I know we did a little bit yesterday, but we'll make them official today. I will go first. I have the Ravens winning the game, of course. I believe yesterday, and I'm going to stick to it, I said it was going to be, I believe if I'm not mistaken, I said 30-17. So that would, of course, cover for the Baltimore Ravens.
I got the Browns losing this one 24-14. So you're still going to cover. I think that defense is good. Like, I really do. Yeah. That's letting Baltimore score 3 touchdowns and a field goal. That's what I think. That's like the Browns defense on their worst day. I hope that it's not more than that, because if it is, then the Browns have no chance of winning this game. Unfortunately, I do have the offense still being unable to eclipse that 20-point benchmark. I got the Ravens 24-14. Browns cover, but ultimately that's a 2-score loss.
Nick, I'm not too far off you. I'm going 27-17 Ravens in this one. I do think Andre Schmidt makes that first career field goal.
Yeah, honestly, guys.
He made a field goal.
Oh, did he last week?
Yeah, he got one.
Yeah, did he make his first one? Yeah, but the team totals, guys, on FanDuel to the Ravens is 28.5 over under, and the Browns is 16.5, which we all took on the Honor the Lay parlay. We all took Browns team total over, and we took the Browns to cover. So I actually have the exact same score, 27-17. I think the Browns just barely get over that 16.5 mark, and I would honestly place some bets on that.
All right, guys, let's flip over. We had an interesting game last night, Thursday Night Football, but before we get into that, I got to tell you about our friends over at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, classic light lager as well as that classic lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer the way you want beer to taste, and that's beer-flavored beer. Visit their website, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Again, one more time, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. All right, well, Packers beat the Commanders. Matt LaFleur moves to 2-0 while the Commanders fall to 1-1. Story of the game for me was defense. Jordan Love looked great. Dontavian Wicks, the beginning of the game, was turning up. Tucker Kraft had a monster day. We'll talk about that. Romeo Doubs found the end zone. But for me, it was the Packers defense. Man, that addition of Micah Parsons might have been what puts them over as a Super Bowl favorite. Jeff Hafley, the Packers defensive coordinator, was in his bag last night with the shell coverages. Looked like he had 7 guys about to rush the quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Then he would drop into cover 2, invert flat. He did a tremendous job of disguising, keeping Jaden Daniels on his toes.
Jaden Daniels looked a little confused at times, did he not?
He looked very confused. I mean, a lot of the times Terry McLaurin couldn't get open. A lot of the times Deebo Samuel, they were right there when he would drift into the flat. And then Austin Eckler for them, I woke up this morning, I fell asleep, rewatched the game the 4th quarter, but Austin Eckler with a torn Achilles, it's not good news for them. Yeah. But that was the story. Jaden Daniels couldn't get much going on offense, if at all. Obviously, you got the late score there with Zach Ertz to kind of make it a competitive game, but really this whole entire game, and especially the first half, it was all Green Bay. Jordan Love looked great. The touchdown that got negated to Jaden Reed, that was an absolute dot, but you had a hold by the right tackle. Speaking of, Josh Connerly had an absolute terrible game. It's tough. You're a rookie going against Micah Parsons. Laramie Tunsil had a few mishaps. And Marshawn Lattimore, beginning of the game, was getting cooked. He was getting absolutely cooked. But the story of the game is the Packers defense. They look like they might be the best in the NFL.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, man, where if Jordan Love could do enough offensively, Shirley did enough yesterday, and these Thursday night football games continue to just be weird, low-scoring, kind of boring affairs. I know you said you fell asleep in the 4th quarter. I fell asleep at halftime, didn't even make it to the second half. Like, it was a boring game, but Jordan Love did enough to win it. Like, to me, that's my, thing to watch for the Packers as this season goes on. Like, that defense is stout, and we knew that before they had Micah Parsons, that was going to be a good defense. Parsons was the piece that just takes them to that truly top 3 defense in the league type level. If Jordan Love could do enough, and if he could be the Jordan Love that we've seen have success in the NFL, then the Pack could go as far as he takes them. I like to remind people, though, that's a guy that lost a bowl game to Kent State. So, jury's out.
You know, Michael Parsons,
got to get those links in when I
can. Play in Dallas, but watching him in Green Bay, I mean, outside of Myles Garrett, obviously we're talking best defensive players in the NFL.
Yeah.
But an absolutely relentless motor, just drilling through double teams, getting skinny, hitting the swim move, and finding a way in the backfield almost every single play. You know, like when you watch a performance like that, it truly reminds you why that the defensive ends are paid the way they are.
Yeah. Because
outside of quarterback, I mean, that's the most game-changing position. Michael Parsons making an early case for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, you could wreck a game at that position. Dude, he was just flying off the edge. And what's crazy about him is 26 years old. So this seriously opens that championship window for the Packers. If it's not this year, they got Jordan Love under contract too. And the smart way about how they've built their roster is they don't have a ton invested in their receivers and their running backs. Like, that's how you can sustain and keep a Super Bowl window open. Like, Jaden Reed went down, and obviously that stinks, but they've got a ton of other receivers that could get the job done. We saw that late in the game when Tucker Kraft started to get more involved in the offense.
And Matthew Golden, by the way, pretty moot. He didn't really do much at all. Had a couple targets. He almost scored, but
stayed on the sideline for a lot.
Yeah. But the point is that, and this stat popped up on the broadcast last night, you know, the Packers have kind of been the poster child for sitting your rookie quarterbacks. They went from obviously Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, now to Jordan Love. And the one stat was, since I believe it was around 2012 or something like that, there's only been 2 quarterbacks drafted in the first round that didn't start a single game their rookie year. It was Jordan Love and it was J.J. McCarthy. Now, J.J. McCarthy would have probably started a game for the Minnesota Vikings had he not missed the whole rookie year. So really the only one on that list truly meaningfully is Jordan Love. You know, I believe it was 2 years. He kind of got in a little bit games, but then you really got the Jordan Love experience, proved it the first year, got full-time starter, got that massive contract. I mean, nowadays we're kind of just enamored with drafting a rookie in the first round, throwing them in the fire. And granted, a lot of teams don't have the opportunity to let them sit behind an Aaron Rodgers, but then again, the Packers planned for that. They had Aaron Rodgers. He was kind of on his way out to Green Bay, but then they kind of shocked everybody and took that quarterback in the first round. And it came with question marks, of course. But it ends up working out because last year you got a tough matchup with the Eagles, but before that you went into AT&T Stadium with Jordan Love and beat the Cowboys. Now this year, off to a hot 2-0 start. Jordan Love, as you said, has been doing enough. Maybe not to that echelon of your Josh Allens and Lamar Jacksons, but you don't necessarily need that. Now the question is, once you get into the playoffs, once you get into those late games, the conference championship, the Super Bowl, Jordan Love's going to have to put on his cape, and we'll see if he's able to do that. But kind of like the 49ers, Brock Purdy, and I think Jordan Love is the league's talented above Brock Purdy, but the point is being you stack that defense, and it's not necessarily stacked with superstar names outside of Micah Parsons, but Jeff Hafley's done a great job. Jordan Love doing enough. And the Packers right now, as I said, probably I would imagine the Super Bowl favorite, at least the NFC favorite. I don't know who's going to beat them outside of Philadelphia.
I have 3 thoughts for you guys, none of them around the game itself. First one being, a little quick round of applause for the big factor lay of the day hitting yesterday.
How did we not?
Plus 371, 4-leg parlay, guys.
It was what? I had Jordan Love over rushing yards, cashed that super early.
Yeah,
Jacobs scored a touchdown.
There we go. There we go. Clap it back up. Yeah, second round, people love it. The people fucking love it. Josh Jacobs, anytime touchdown, and then Nick had the spread as well.
Kudos to
So that
us.
was the first thought. So the fellas are hot right now. Second, guys, I tried to defend the Thursday Night Football crew for as long as I could, and I'm finally ready to do the Bugs Bunny and pull the big hook out and just ring them off the stage.
Now, is that more Kirk or more? It's got to be more Al Michaels, right?
I hate to say it, man. It's Al.
Father Time.
Father Time's catching
undefeated.
up. And the last one.
And it has been for quite some time for him, unfortunately.
Last one, I would love to debate this one, but it is not up for debate, so we're not going to debate it. The Green Bay Packers, those jerseys are a monstrosity. I am not a fan at all.
Disagree.
I fucking hate it. There's no reason to do it.
Agree.
You wear green and yellow, it's traditional.
You wait
Big
to bring
disagree.
those out in like a snow game.
Yeah,
to bring
like on
those
the
out,
road.
We opened the show saying like I'm sweating my nads off over here, and they're wearing the uniforms that they should be wearing in a snowstorm.
Yeah,
like in a
the Ice
snowstorm.
Age City Connects.
Yeah,
Big
like
disagree.
those
I thought
would
it
have
was
looked
fucking
cool
September.
in September. Yeah, like.
We can't. That is debatable.
We got baseball still on.
I like the jerseys. I thought they were clean, the all white. I thought they looked.
It is
super
not
cool.
for debate, though. We did state
We
that
did say that
beforehand.
stuff.
Said it before. So the Packers
I'm
are
a
at plus
Jack.
750 to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if that has changed since the Parsons trade. I'm sure it did or whatever. But
I think it was
where do you
plus
guys,
1,400 before, right?
I mean, listen, Matt LaFleur has consistently, since he got hired by the Green Bay Packers, I believe it was, 6 years ago, has been one of the best head coaches in the NFL. Has one of the best records.
Yep.
He is a genius offensive play caller, and I love the animation on the sidelines. It's the first quarter, and Matt LaFleur is getting on the ref's ass. He just looks like a guy that is in the locker room hyping up his players and knows what football is about. He gets the energy, he brings it, and he backs it up with his play calling, by the way.
Was he the coach that messed up the NFC Championship game against Brady the one year? Was that 2021 maybe? So he would have been there then, right?
I don't know if that was the NFC Championship against Packers?
I believe it was. I think it was to go to the Super Bowl. If not, it was the divisional round.
The one where Scotty Miller scored a less?
Yeah.
It was where like they should like they
Was
I
that
think
the-
they should have gone for 2 for sure and they didn't or
was it
something
the
like that.
divisional
Because
or-
Aaron Rodgers
they
was
kicked
pissed.
the field goal. You're right.
They kicked the field goal. They kicked the field goal.
22-yarder, yeah.
Yeah, and then so yeah, to my knowledge, then Matt LaFleur he's a leg pisser in the playoffs, and until he proves me wrong, so I gotta see him.
He's running
win
dude,
something.
He has
Despite
run
the fact I love the Packers.
He
I have
has
Super Bowl
run
bet on
into
them.
some absolute wagons in the playoffs. Like that 49ers team where Raheem Mostert looked like Barry Sanders. I mentioned the Eagles last year, but that's every team. You got to go through those woes to get experience, and we'll see if it pays off for him in the playoffs this year. Very good chance they could be the 1 seed, maybe them or Philadelphia. Philadelphia's got a tough matchup in Kansas City this year. All right, guys, what do you say we flip over to our NFL college pick'ems?
Hit some bets.
Before we do that, though, obviously all odds are subject to change as we speak today. We're obviously on FanDuel Sportsbook. Nick, why don't you tell us all a little about what FanDuel's got going on?
FanDuel's getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, you pick a bet, you bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the FanDuel app. You could build parlays, bet player props, ride live lines. Whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is already here, so the only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/BigPlay to download the FanDuel app today and get yourself started. You got to be 21 plus and present right here in the great state of Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Little way to bet 5, get 300 in bonus bets. That'll fuel your FanDuel bankroll for a little while here as the NFL college football season in full swing. Got MLB playoffs getting ready to go, so go download that FanDuel
Guards
app.
wild card, baby.
Guards wild card in the rear
Guardtober's
view.
coming, don't worry.
Guardtober, don't
I
worry.
mean, yeah, guys, let's use our given rights here to go out and just use our Friday to talk about what bets we're going to take this weekend.
we're
We'll
doing
start
music?
out with
Which one we
college
got here?
football, guys. You guys want to go money lines or spreads? What do you want to look at?
Nah, let's go spreads.
Spreads here? Okay, starting off,
You only
a
live
game
once.
I'm real excited for. Number 12 Clemson going on the road to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome to take on Georgia Tech, who's unranked. Clemson minus 3.5 in this one. Guys, I don't just like Georgia Tech plus 3.5.
Wow.
I love Haynes King and the Yellow Jackets to go all the way in and win this one and move Dabo to 2 losses.
Hey, hell of a game by Georgia Tech and Haynes King to take down Dion and the Buffaloes to start the season. Obviously, they're unranked, but Clemson, man, you start with them in the opener against LSU. Just nothing going on offense. You got dominated both sides of the trenches. Cade Klubnik through 2 games has looked garbage. And everybody talks about Clemson and Dabo. They refuse to use the portal. He brings back the most returning players on the offense and defense. While that sounds good in theory, that might not be the way to go in this new era of NIL and transfer portal college football. You struggled against Troy. For a second there, we thought they were going to get upset. That first half was some ugly football by the Tigers. Give me, I hate to say this, and I don't like betting with Dabo. It's 3.5.
3.5.
I'll take Clemson to cover, and if they don't, then boy, am I going to be down on them the rest of the season.
Yeah, they're unbettable. If they can't get off the schneid here, this is like a slump buster game. Like if you can't beat the 3.5 spot against Georgia Tech, who's unranked, like Clemson came in kind of as like darlings with Cade Klubnik, huge NFL expectations, hasn't lived up to any of that in just a couple of games, very small sample size. This is textbook definition, like a team that some people are pumping up here and gassing up here a little bit with Georgia Tech because of that Colorado win, and another team in Clemson where people are down and out. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to check logic at the door, and I'm going to tell Ryan, have Clemson cover this because this feels like a you have to cover type of game. And if they don't, they are probably on the do not bet list for the rest of Friday.
Clemson covers for me too.
Now
because
until
You're not going to buzz with me, Pat?
I'm not going to buzz with you, unfortunately, because this is. You might say. You might say this is a road game. This is a home game for Clemson. In the Superdome, they're going to travel super well. Clemson fans always do.
Yep.
And they've had experience going to this stadium as well, so they're covering.
Haynes King is a dog, though. No
He
one's
is a
talked
dog,
about
but
it.
they gave him a ring last year for going 7-6.
Okay, well, he was hurt for half their
Congratulations,
losses.
you went undefeated
All
in
right,
the ACC.
all right, that's
Congratulations.
Okay, some SEC play now, fellas. Number 6 Georgia, the
more.
Bulldogs going on the road to Neyland Stadium to take on number 15 Tennessee. Georgia -4.5 as road favorites in this one. What do you guys like?
You know, Georgia yet to be tested this season. This is their first true test. We'll see what Gunnar Stockton's got at the helm for Georgia. He looked okay in the playoffs when he took over for an injured Carson Beck, but I'm not sure he's going to live up to the I'm not sure he's going to live up to the Jake Fromm's or Stetson Bennett's. But you flip it over for Tennessee. Gio Lopez, I believe is his name.
Joey Aguilar.
Gio Lopez is North Carolina. You're right.
No, I think he might just be.
No, he started in the first half.
Did he for that?
Yeah.
I thought it was
they
the
got
Johnson
pulled by
kid.
Johnson. No,
Johnson.
But you're
came in
right,
for
because
him.
Aguilar got basically your first college trade for Nico Iamaleava, who went to UCLA. He comes from UCLA. He looked good in their win against Syracuse. This one's tough. I'll go Georgia because I think they're the better team. I still think Kirby Smart is one of the best coaches in college football. I'm yet to see Georgia get tested, so I have no reason to doubt them. So I'll take Georgia to cover and win the game, but I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee makes this a nail-biter.
You know, everybody's going to be talking about Gunnar Stockton for good reason. Georgia, Kirby, they like running the football down there. I think that's what you got to do against Tennessee, especially on the road. Give me the Bulldogs.
I think Bulldogs, too, as well. I mean, honestly, it's kind of strange to not have such a high-flying Georgia Bulldogs offense with wide receivers that you're really loving down there. But like you said, I think this is going to be more of a grinded-out style Georgia. I still think they cover, I guess, but I don't feel that great about it. I mean, 6-7 points, whatever it is. My fault. Didn't even mean to do that.
Did it to himself.
Didn't even mean to do that. But I think they can cover 5 points. Yeah.
Guys, I think I'm going to look like a moron probably on Monday because, once again, I'm going the opposite of all three of you. I actually think Georgia wins this game, but I do think Tennessee covers at home. I don't know. I think even if you look at Gunnar Stockton has played in big games before, like the Notre Dame game last year, but like he hasn't been in a stadium like this where it's the road, like he's on the road for the first time, like having to cover your ears, like just not knowing what's going on. Like, that's a real tough start for a kid who is a
24-20.
redshirt freshman base.
Like
but yeah, I think it's going to be a very, very close game. And I think Aguilar's legs are going to keep them in it as well. That's going to be a really fun matchup, I think, though, guys. Next one on here. Ooh, we talked about this one a little bit earlier this week, guys. USF plus 17.5, number 18 in the country, going down to Hard Rock Stadium to take on the Snapchat Merchants.
On the CW, by the way.
Listen,
on the CW, channel
is
43 for those of you watching at home.
18.5.
mess with the Bulls.
Yeah,
Mess
17,
with the Bulls.
17.5.
Get the horns.
Mess with the Bulls, get the horns, man. Listen, USF right now, they were good last year, and they look even better this year. You open the season blowing out Boise State.
Squad
then what
ride
do you do
inbound?
after that?
Yeah.
You travel into Gainesville.
Ride
You
inbound
travel
on
into the
CW?
swamp. You
USF
cut the
money
head
line?
off the gator. You cook its tail and you eat it. That's what UCF has been doing. I'm going to have them going into Hard Rock Stadium, taking on Carson Beck. Not winning, but I do have them covering this game. Carson Beck looks good. I don't know if he's going to bring it this game. It's impossible for me to pick USF over Miami, but let me put it this way. When you look at UCF's resume, by the way, one of the best resumes, if not early into the season, as I mentioned, Boise State, traveling to Gainesville, beat DJ Lagway, put Billy Napier on the hot seat. If you roll in and you take down the Miami Hurricanes on the CW, we're talking about the Horns moving up into the top 10, baby. If Alabama, I heard this take, if Alabama had that resume, a Boise State blowout, and then you beat the Florida Gators in Gainesville, people would be slobbering over Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. They're not getting the same respect, of course, because it's USF. But, baby, give me the Horns, the Bulls to cover this one against
this is easily the biggest game on the CW ever, correct? Has to be. It's like the only game I've ever heard of.
You're forgetting about some of the charge matchups on the Rock that led over.
Yeah, well, shoot.
I hate to be that guy once again, but for the third consecutive time, I'm going to be the only guy to go the other way. I think your luck runs out eventually. The law of averages does have to come back down. And I was saying it on the show in June, I always thought the Florida Gators were fugazi from the start.
Sure.
Battling Billy Napier. Never believe in that guy. I think DJ Lagway had a nice couple of games to end the year. Whatever. They scored 9. But I don't know. I think eventually talent just wins out. It's really hard to do it 3 weeks in a row. I don't think it's like a 50-point skull fuck by any means, but I do think you're sitting probably more between 20 and 27 in this game.
It's a huge line. It is a huge line. I'm still taking the Bulls, though. I wish we could squad ride on that, but unfortunately, no.
All right.
I'm guys, let's go. Yeah, we got 3 more games here in college football. Vanderbilt heading on the road to number 11 South Carolina. South Carolina -3.5 this one. Can Diego Pavia and the fellas pull off the upset?
Hey, shout out Jensen Lewis. The Commies with a hell of a season last year, taking down Alabama. That was awesome. The streets of Nashville flooded with Vanderbilt fans. This one, I'm going to go the Gamecocks. Lenora Sellers is an absolute game changer. He's just a beast. He can get it done with his arm and his legs. And I believe, just 20 years old.
A little bit of spoke about him going back to school, by the way. So pens down on the mock drafts for just a moment. I do like South Carolina in this game as well. I think it's just one of those things, and I like Diego Pavia. Like he was fun last year. Yeah, gamer. Yep. I always cheer for the smaller quarterbacks that could get it done. But like you said, Jack, in your last pick, at some point the magic and the fun kind of does stop when you run into a buzzsaw like this. So this is a guy in Lenora Sellers that we're talking about, whether it's this year, whether it's next year, whenever he decides, he's going to be a first-round pick. I can't bet against that. Give me SC.
Yeah, Vandy's got one of the worst high major football stadiums as well, so it's not really any home field advantage.
Hey,
you think so?
Jensen Lewis is fired up.
Jensen can come at me for that one, but I think it's easily Vandy can't cover.
We defend Vandy on this program. On this network.
Yeah, you know what? Clark Lane and his boys are going to go in there and keep it close. That's what's gonna happen out of Vanderbilt. But it's going to be, I think, -3.5. I'm not all the way in on South Carolina like you guys are, but gung ho enough this week with their win by 3.5. Next one in a battle of who do I hate more? Billy Napier and Brian Kelly. Florida goes on the road into Baton Rouge, number 3 in the country now. The Tigers are up to, guys, -7.5. You are getting LSU in this one.
I'm going LSU all the way. Listen, LSU from week 1 on, I think, has shown they might be the most complete team in college football. You can make the argument for the Buckeyes, but listen, you have an experienced quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier, and if we've learned anything from the last couple of years in college football, when you get into these big games, especially late in the season, I know this is only week 3, but that experience really does matter.
I'm tiling all of Ryan's bets, bro. I'm getting a little bit nervous, but I took the words right out of my mouth.
Billy Napier sucks.
Yeah, Billy Napier sucks. He probably gets
DJ
fired.
Lagway's getting wasted in the swamp.
Yeah, what are they doing with him? I've got a rated rookie DJ Lagway card. Free him, please, because I need that guy to have a good rest of his college football season, go to the NFL, do something with himself for that card to be worth literally anything. So I need DJ Lagway to get as far away from Billy Napier as humanly possible. I need Billy Napier fired. I need Billy Napier to coach the Kent State Golden Flashes. Yeah, give me LSU.
Harold Perkins Jr., name to watch in this game. He's going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, I think I'm taking LSU here. I don't really have any rhyme or reason behind it, but...
Oh, no.
You think I'm going to bet with Brian Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay, clean sleep.
I'm not going for Florida +7.5. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Jack, give us one more college football, and then we got to do some.
Yeah, here we go. The primetime game of the night. Number 16, Texas A&M goes to South Bend to take on the number 8 Irish. We're -6.5 in this one.
Give me 6.5.
Give me Notre Dame big.
Yeah,
give me
big
Notre Dame big. By the way, they've talk about a school that has had a little bit of a troubled start in the way that they finished last year against the Buckeyes, run into a buzzsaw week 1, 2. Like, give me Notre Dame to get right, and this is where their season really starts. Yeah. Here in week 3, give me what is it? Week 2, week 3? Who knows? 2. Give me the Irish.
Week 3. I mean, they've only played one game.
Week 3, but you had to buy. Listen, for Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, you walk away from that Hurricanes game, and I don't think it's a bad look for Notre Dame. I think Miami played a hell of a game. That second half, Notre Dame can hang their head on. They controlled that really the second half, and they almost made it out of there with a win. Texas A&M, a tough opponent, but you're at home. You're getting right in South Bend. And then after this is a game you need to win, because after this, it's all cupcakes and rainbows for Notre Dame on that schedule, bearing another tragic upset like you saw to, Eastern or Northern Illinois. Okay. You got to win this game. Can we see Jeremiah Love get unlocked in this game? Is this going to be the game where he really puts it on the map for the Heisman contention? I don't think he's going to win Heisman. I think it's kind of way too.
He splits
going to be one of the
carries.
It's going to be one of those
Price had 10 touchdowns and 1,000 rushing yards last year.
CJ Carr is going to turn the ignition on at home in South Bend. They're going to get the win by at least a touchdown. Down go the Aggies.
We're starting the car.
Guys, it's finally time to start the car. CJ Carr, you're coming down doing it. All week in practice, Marcus Freeman has been using freshman slot receiver Scrap Richardson as the practice team quarterback. Scrap Richardson to try and replicate what they're going to see out of Marcel Reed, the dual threat quarterback for Texas A&M on Saturday night. You got to think they run the fucking ball more than 5 times, right? You know, if they don't, I might not be on the show on Monday. So we really hope Mike Denbrock comes out there and just... Please, guys.
What would be the number of rushes that you'd be like, all right, fine, that's acceptable?
If Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price combined do not get 22 carries in the game, I will be friggin' livid. I believe last week, for reference, they ended with like 15.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we wrap it up. We're doing some NFL.
Oh, we got to do some NFL, right?
Let's do some primetime NFL.
Yeah, let's get the big
Notre
games.
Dame
Get a
here.
Sunday night football at least.
Yep.
See what fun ones we got.
Got a big Super Bowl rematch this week too.
We do.
Let's go to okay. Buccaneers plus 2.5 heading in to Houston.
Yes.
Texans on Sunday Night Football minus 2.5.
Tampa money
Monday
line.
Night Football, I thought.
You know, I will bet Tampa money line. I don't love it. It worries me a little bit. You saw the Texans struggle to get anything on the offense going against the Los Angeles Rams.
Yep.
Is C.J. Stroud going to have another year like he did last year, or are we going to see C.J. Stroud return to his rookie form? Now, Nico Collins didn't get much going. Jaden Higgins didn't do much. Really, anybody on the offense outside of Nick Chubb was the only one who had a really honestly decent game, funny enough. But Tampa Bay's offense is a wagon. Baker Mayfield grabbed his stones in that fourth quarter, that last 2-minute drive.
Unreal.
Emeka Ibuka looks to be awesome. Mike Evans is good for a touchdown in this game. He didn't score one week 1. And then you got Bucky Irving and the crew getting it done. I think they do enough to limit, again, C.J. Stroud in the offense. I'd love it a lot more, obviously, if they were home in Tampa. But give me the Bucs on the road. Again, I have a Baker Mayfield future like some of you on MVP. Stats might have not popped out on the stat line, but Baker Mayfield willed them to a win against Atlanta week 1. Give me the Buccaneers to roll into week 2.
Bucks money line.
Yeah, Bucks money line as well for me. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't look at the stats too much, but it didn't really feel like Bucky popped off either. Bucky Irving, he played all right, but he's really, if they can get those checkdowns to Bucky Irving going, I think it's Bucks money line all day.
Sorry, guys. I'm just going to go to the next game. Monday Night Football. We got a doubleheader on Monday night, guys. Chargers are -3 heading into Las Vegas to take on the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, that's Chargers -3 all day.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it wasn't a home game, or excuse me, if they weren't at home in Vegas, I mean, that spread to me is way too low. Justin
And
Herbert.
Vegas isn't even really
the
like
thing
a
that's
home
the thing that made me really love the
That's like Cedar
Chargers
Point.
this year is week 1. It was the passing game that got it done more so than the rushing. Omarion Hampton looked okay. We'll see if he gets unlocked this game, but Justin Herbert looked like tremendous. I mean, he was probably right now one of the leaders for MVP outside of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Obviously, he gets a nudge because he got the victory. But you saw Keenan Allen step up in a big way, which was awesome to see. Lad McConkey is continuing to do Lad McConkey things. Quentin Johnston, people in Brazil think he's the best player in the NFL. That's good for him. Give me the Chargers all day long. They had the best defense in the whole entire NFL last season. It doesn't look like they took a step back. I think it's just going to be way too much for the Raiders in a big game.
Yeah, they're going to be good. I really do think the Chargers are going to be good, forced to be reckoned with. The other piece of this that you could say is it's a divisional game, road picking
It's a rivalry game.
rivalry game, picking the road dog in that one, or the road favorite rather. Usually an unpopular pick, but I like the Chargers to cover.
And
Chargers
then,
been throwing a lot too, because Omarion Hampton, as soon as he gets going, a rookie, but they've been throwing the ball a lot. I still take the Chargers.
to end the weekend, guys, or the start of the week, actually, the Dolphins heading into Highmark Stadium to take on the Bills up in Orchard
Bills,
Park.
give me the Bills. I don't even care what
Doesn't
the
even matter
number
what
is.
the number.
Do you want to guess what it is?
Wait, what is this? Bills Dolphins?
Yeah,
9.5.
in Buffalo.
9.5.
How about you? How about you? This guy sets lines himself.
I've done some gambling in my day.
What do you think that over/under?
I like the Bills to win this by 10. Good Lord, that's the bet of the week. I'd be stunned if that doesn't move a bit. I think the Bills could eat at home. That's in Orchard Park.
in Orchard Park.
Yeah,
Wait,
Bills,
Jack,
Bills,
see,
Bills
I
by
knew you were
10. Let's
tripping.
wrap
I
this
knew
up.
you were tripping. Buffalo plays the Jets.
Yeah.
I knew you were big tripping.
That's Thursday. Is that maybe Thursday next week?
Yeah, I knew. That's why I was confused. I'm like, I thought the Bills
Yeah,
played the
that's Thursday
Jets.
next
What's
week.
that number?
That's Thursday.
When did
yeah,
they
right.
start doing the 2 Monday night games then?
They started doing that maybe like 2 years ago, but it's only a couple of times.
This week's 2 Monday night games.
I hate the 2 Monday night
Yeah,
games.
me too. I hate it. There's a early.
Because
and a late.
that's how you get jumbled up on where they're at.
All
Yeah.
right, that's a way to wrap the show.
Give me Bills today. Hey, everybody, appreciate you tuning into the Big Factor special edition at the Big Play Golf Invitational here at Little Mountain. We're wrapping it up. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. We'll be back Monday, same people, same time. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Enjoy football, enjoy college, enjoy NFL. Go Browns. Hopefully, we'll have a victory Monday.